vocally, like what you're singing and performing and that kind of thing?
Well, I'm not performing. I sing for myself. I play guitar and I sing rock and roll stuff. Elvis, Beatles, Everly Brothers, Eddie Cochran, that sort of thing. I've been singing for 10 years. Started very, very bad in my throat and in my nose. I've only recently made the transition into a more resonant chest, but it seems I've regressed because I used to sing much brighter about 8 years ago and more tuneful, and now I'm regressing. And I know you speak about making the transition, you can often go backwards, but there's like one whole note that now I can't reach, so I seem to have gone down at least one note. I'm feeling more tired in the throat, range and freeness is leaving me, and I'm wondering what that's all about. And so I can play you a little bit of a song that I was singing 8 years ago, and you can see how I was then, and then we can take it from there. So you get the picture with that. Could you hear that okay, Spencer?
Yeah. And so then now when you're singing, it sounded like you had some ease getting into that first passage, that transition area up the top there.
Yes.
And what do you find is happening now? Does it feel like it's more difficult, more strained?
Yes, it's tight, and I can't extend the notes as much and as freely, and it really is some concern. I'm seeing a voice specialist next week, but now, if I was to sing that song again, then it'd all be out of tune, and I wouldn't have the breath to continue the notes.
Yes. Okay. So, what I'd like to do, you did a 5-tone all when you first joined. Let's do that again, and then I'm going to take you through a few things to both warm up your voice and also kind of test out what might be happening in some of these ranges, and then from there we can see what we can do about this to hopefully get you a bit more freedom in your voice, a bit more range, a bit more ease with some of this.
Yes, I've been doing your mixed voice for guys and the advanced one for 6 months, and I've got ridden of the Passaggio. I'm pretty good on that now. It's just that I haven't increased my range at all. I seem to have plateaued. It seems to be on a G, F sharp G, and I can't seem to get above that.
Yeah. Okay, understood. Okay, good. Let's and we're gonna go and then we'll just keep going up, and whatever happens.
Okay.
Starting here. You'll have to sing it.
Yeah, you froze for a minute then.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, perfect. So, did it freeze?
Yeah, I can't hear the piano at all, and your picture is very ghost-like. It's not a good signal.
Oh wow. Okay, this. We're just not having a good time here.
No.
Maybe it's the musical content that makes the signal more. If I do this, does it play? Oh, it stops. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. It's not clear at all, and usually with anybody else around the world, I do a lot of this, and I've got good clarity. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on today.
Okay, because I have very, very fast internet, so usually it should be like I'm hearing you perfectly fine, but something about the the transfer of maybe music and
Well, let me see if I
um
can just do it a Pellegio then.
yeah, so
Ah,
there we go. Ah,
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 ah.
ah. So go into the passaggio there.
That's right.
Ah,
Um,
ah, weak.
okay, okay. So, what I'm hearing is you need a little bit more. Your vocal cords are getting a little bit loose and a little bit overly thin in the bottom, and so then that's not giving you much to stretch from to get to the top. So, what I was hearing in the recording of your song was that you were more, that kind of in my lesson plans, I say let's put a bratty sound on it. That
Yeah,
sort of nay, 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 na, na, na.
yeah,
It sounded like you were kind of singing with that as like an as a sort of a operational way to get through your range those years back. It was kind
nasally.
of like
Take kind of nasally.
kind of nasally, but you were getting more chest voice happening on the bottom.
Right.
Whereas right now what I'm hearing is and so your voice is a little bit muffly, but there's also more air flowing through it. It's a little bit breathier on the bottom, kind of
Yes.
like kind of like yawning or sighing, like ah ah. Whereas before in the recording you were so it was like a little firmer. And
Yes.
if you have that on the bottom, you can stay with a little bit more of that resonant, buzzy sound, even if it's a little bit cartoonish, even if it's a bit exaggerated at first, because it's just temporary doing it that way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're singing like that, then you kind of have to move into your head voice a little early
Yeah.
at the passaggio, which then means when you get to the top of that first passaggio, then you can't go much further because it's like the voice has started thin and then thinned out too quickly going up.
Yes. So what I think I'm doing is that unless I engage in a persona, an artificial voice, using my own voice is too weak. Probably because I have never used it in all these years. Because I was singing too high through the nose most of the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I go ah, much more grit,
Yeah.
much more power.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Ah,
Right.
I can't get any further in chest.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So um let's do this. Let's see if we can get your chest voice to engage and then to stay connected to that as you thin out into the top. So let's do this. Can you say mm, mm, so it's a hum, but it's like a call it
And
a
a squeaky door.
chord. Yeah. And let's do it starting in your chest voice. So say mm. Yes. Good. Now Mm, 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 mm.
Mm,
It could
mm,
be,
mm, mm, mm.
yes. Mm, 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 mm.
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 Mm, 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 mm.
Mm, 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 mm.
That's it. Mm, 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 mm,
Mm, mm, mm, mm, mm, mm, mm.
mm. Mm, 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 mm.
Mm, 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 mm.
Okay, so that's where your vocal cords start to come apart and more air starts to come through it. But that's at an A, so we've gotten a little bit further here by engaging your vocal folds a little bit more on the bottom, as opposed to if I go and I don't engage my voice as much on the bottom, then I don't really have anywhere to stretch. You know, it's like I often will use a exercise band analogy that if I want to stretch up and stretch this exercise band out, one hand has to brace and one hand then stretches and thins it. This is like your chest voice, and then this is like your head voice, and that's how you get mix. Whereas if you're not bracing on the bottom with if it's you go to try and stretch it, and you end up in falsetto or just pure air on the top.
Yes.
So it's not that you have to be really heavy, but like a little bit more spoken on the bottom, a little bit less breathy on the bottom, and then that will help kick in the top a little bit better as well. So for instance, some of the exercises you're doing, like let's take that gug 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 with a cry, you know.
Yeah.
Can you say, we won't go into the top part yet, can you just say gug 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 gug?
Gug, 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 gug. Gug, 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 gug.
See if you can stay in chest voice on
Yeah.
the top note there. So gug 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 instead of gug gug.
Yeah. Gug, 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 gug. Gug, gug. Gug, 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 gug.
Gug.
Gug, 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 gug.
Okay, good. So we've gotten up to the passaggio area now. Now let's see if we can get starting like that and then see if we can get a little bit higher. So it might be not through the nose, but it might sound kind of exaggerated like a cartoon. Let's do that nay, 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 but making sure that you start nay, nay instead of nay,
Yep.
nay on the bottom. So we're gonna go nay, 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 nay.
Nay, 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 nay.
Yep. Nay, 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 nay.
Nay, 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 nay.
Nay, 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 nay.
Nay, 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 nay.
Yes, okay, good. Now, let's see now if you can keep a little bit of that speaking kind of voice in this higher area. So, can you say a like cafe? So just a.
A.
Good. So we're gonna go a. And don't think of going to head voice at this point here. Just keep that funny voice and keep saying a. It's as if your speaking voice, like the lighter part of your chest voice, keeps going higher.
Right.
Rather than a.
Yeah.
That's a little early for it to be head voice.
Yeah.
A.
Too low.
It's already better. It's still a little a, but it's less.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're getting a little more purchase. Can you stick your tongue out for a second and say ah ah ah?
Ah ah ah. Ah ah ah.
That's it. So we're gonna go ah 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 ah.
Ah 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 ah. Ah 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 ah.
That's it. Don't let go.
Ah 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 ah.
Ah ah.
Ah 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 ah. Ah 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 ah.
Not bad. Third note, see if you can stay in more chest. Instead of There we go. So it's a goofy sound, but notice how it's not it's not turning into just all air.
Yeah.
And it's like it kind of stabilizes your voice. And then little by little, we can then normalize that a little bit. Going from, say, like, to na 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 na, to na 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 na, to ma 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 ma. So little by little, we can kind of deepen it a little bit and make it sound a bit more like your normal speaking voice, but with a little bit more, not aggressiveness, but energy in it, like engaging your voice a little bit. Maybe in the process of, some other things in your voice, or in trying to relax some strain, you've kind of like started to relax some things too much.
Yeah.
There's overdoing in singing and there's underdoing, and we're trying to find this happy medium where you're putting enough energy into it to get it to hold, but not so much that it's strain,
Yeah, so I've really got to keep a grip.
That's it. And then if it starts to feel like, oh, now I'm yelling it, keep that grip, but just back down on the volume a little bit, meaning not get soft on the top, meaning just don't get louder on the top.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I go, I'm keeping that grip. I'm just not, I'm not getting louder and pushing harder.
Yes.
I'm just keeping the same volume all the way through and the same amount of energy, the same amount of engagement in it versus where I'm starting unengaged in my chest voice and then having to let go even faster. And then that would be like, trying to stretch this with my head voice, but it's not stretching because there's no chest voice holding it and anchoring it to stretch.
Yeah, it just seems it's like an empty void. It's just
That's right.
It's got
Like
nothing.
nothing
It's not tethered or anchored to anything.
That's it. So, good. Let's leave it at that. You can work on that a little bit, and then we'll find like 15 minutes somewhere else to book a little bit more. We almost fit the whole time in, but that way you can kind of take this away.
Spencer, I'm happy with what you've done. We've already done like over 20 minutes, and so I'm happy with that. You gave me some good pointers. Is there any videos on YouTube which you do with this? Because I do all the mums and the nays, but I've not
Yeah.
seen the eh.
Yeah, often I don't usually do this on YouTube because somebody could take it and take it in the wrong direction. But you can take like the nays and nas in your lesson plan and just replace it with
Supplant them. Okay.
yeah, just those. Whenever you see one R octave repeat,
Yeah.
just sing over top of that piano part, but with and you'll have.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, Spencer. Nice to meet you.
Okay. You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
Looks like the neighbours are going to be fucking traumatised then. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But this is the nature of it, people. This is how it is. And nobody gets away with this shit. Everyone's got to do this shit at some different varying degree. Wherever the flaw is in your voice, wherever the weakness is, you've got to do that. So, well, vital to have someone listen to you, to see, you know, with a very, very trained ear, to know exactly what's going on. It was a shame that it was a delay and I couldn't see his face. It was all shimmering all the time because the connection was crap. But it is what it is, you know. But anyway, I took something from it, and I know what he's saying. I know how to work on that, and so let's see what happens.